Hello, everybody. This is the Section 214 BC Lions podcast. I'm the host, Ascent, and I'm here with my friends, Jacob, a very tired Jacob, and Hammer. And this is probably the latest recording session we've done today. I mean, for reasons outside of our control. But I could also say that it's because of how sad we felt after yesterday. But I mean, we'll go over that in a bit, but I just wanted to, you know, me and Hambo just wanted to share like a fun story about how last
Yeah.
week's episode actually helped him with something very important. And
Yeah,
we can talk
I'll
about
carry
that.
on here. Last week, Jacob, you were in a different setup. You had a map behind you. I think you were in your grandparents' place.
That's
Um,
right.
so I'll reference the Discord messages. So while you were talking before the episode started, I was like, "Oh, nice map," and he said, "Yeah, cool. That's a Mercator map." And I am in a class at Douglas College called Intro to Human Geography, and I was having a quiz, and I did pretty good in the end. I got 14 out of 15, but there was
Great.
one question I forgot, and it was name the map that is a flat rectangle and the longitude and latitude lines are straight lines. And that's a Mercator map, and it was the exact one that Jacob had right behind me. And I'm like, oh my God, this podcast literally helped me with a
Yes.
college quiz question, which I did get right in the end. So I pinged you guys and we were laughing about it. So
Yeah, I was
that
laughing
was one
about
cool
that too,
moment.
and yeah, that was a really good moment. Yeah, it wasn't on my bingo card about a podcast helping school tests in any way, but
There
One
you
that's
one
go.
more thing is that last week in our questions, we were talking about how Victoria doesn't get a lot of rain, and I did end up learning about that in my college class last week. So I feel like the gods of Douglas College were listening to our podcast last week.
There you
Pretty
Yeah, the
go.
cool.
gods of Douglas College are listening, but unfortunately, the football gods were not listening
Oh
to us.
boy.
Nope.
And you'll notice that I decided to put usually the normal thumbnail for every Lions loss now is this. I'm doing this as my my streaming
Using
background now
background.
because yeah, this is. I mean, I guess to just segue into the gut check. I mean, like this is. It was a tale of two games for the BC Lions. Right, it was first half. They're up 16-0. The defense looked amazing. I mean, the offense was kind of just petering out a little bit, but um, man, I was fairly confident that even if Hamilton was going to make a comeback effort, I think BC would have held strong with the defense, even if it was like a really tense game, because I knew that even with the 16-0 lead, I knew Hamilton had still had some gas in their tank because they were desperate to win this one as much as we were. And that's really the name of the game. I mean, like Hamilton just showed a lot more fortitude and they just wanted to win more. And I mean, it helped them out in the grand scheme of things, right? Um, I just watched Toronto beat Montreal. Uh, that didn't help Hamilton, but Saskatchewan beating Ottawa did help them, and of course Edmonton losing uh, before our game that also helped them too. So I mean, the East crossover looking more and more likely by the week, just by virtue of uh, just us just falling apart. It feels like right now. I mean,
Could be us who are just
this.
getting victimized by it at this point. Hamilton's
Yeah,
at
this
12 points, we're at 14. It's very possible that Hamilton could overcome that deficit the rest of the way.
Yeah, that was just clearly just a win that like really got away from BC. It felt like it was death by 1,000 cuts to me. I mean, you two were at the game
Yeah.
yesterday. I mean,
Want to
you
mention
probably
that.
got a gauge from how the crowd feels whenever the other team scores a touchdown or just
Oh boy. Yeah,
turn.
I got a passionate guy sitting next to me in my season ticket seats, and he was very vocal, I mean, screaming in the fourth quarter. Um, I'm kind of quite devastated about that game. When I was walking out, I was thinking, this felt a lot like that Winnipeg loss last year, but with less stakes. And I think the stakes were just as big because Hamilton's now 2 points behind us for a playoff spot. Like for all the talking we did about there could be an East crossover. Oh, we could play an East team in if we were hosting a home playoff game, but we're probably not going to host a home playoff game anymore at this rate. Hamilton could
No,
overtake us, so we got to win at least 2 of 3 of our last games, and I don't know what much confidence we have at
and
this point.
beat Saskatchewan, like that's the
The
important one,
host
the host
again.
playoff
Oh
game,
yeah.
like that's what's coming up like the week after,
The only
right? But
real saving grace for us is remember for the crossover, Hamilton has to be better than us. They can't have the same amount of points as us and then they have the tiebreakers of the season series. No, that doesn't matter. For the crossover, Hamilton must finish with more points,
yeah, they basically have to win out and hope BC loses 2 of the next 3 games, right?
which
And
might very
that's
well happen.
yeah, it's a
We've got
very much
We've got
possibility.
a road game against Saskatchewan, and then we got Montreal to wrap the year up. So, it's very possible that BC will lose 2 of 3.
Yeah, and considering, I mean, Montreal might still be playing their starters. I mean, it all depends on like if they do lock up first in the East, I think
They've
they
already
will
done
start
that.
the rest. Yeah, but
They've already done that.
they have. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if they did. Well,
Well,
they
according
lost
to
to
the CFL
Toronto.
website, they have locked up first place.
Oh, huh. That's well, I guess probably because of Ottawa losing and
Yeah.
okay, yeah, but yeah, we'll just
Just want to say
yeah.
one comment about the game is that um another comparison to that Winnipeg game last year. I want to start off by saying 16-0 at halftime. That's impressive. First of all, 0 points given up by the defense, who's been shaky at times. I feel like we could have been up by more points than that. That was a tale of missed opportunities by the offense. They were rolling to start with 10 points on the first 2 drives, and then it just fell apart. I remember late in the third quarter, Jacob, we just saw it coming. Lead was
We did.
evaporating so slowly but so quickly. And like just like the Winnipeg game last year, we made it to overtime and we knew we didn't stand a chance. It's that much momentum.
Yeah, even when they fell behind late in the fourth quarter, I had no faith they were going to get that done, but luckily they did come back to force overtime, but in the end, it still didn't matter. So
I
there you
I was
go.
mean,
just
there was I mean, well, when we get into the game recap, I mean, there was a little bit of, I mean, there was a little bit of a contentious debate in Lions fan circles that I've seen where, uh, should we have gone for it to, get the game-winning touchdown or like on third and 4, right? Well, it was third and it was really short yardage, but I
I
mean,
didn't think so. Where we were at
and
that game, I'm like, take overtime. At least you have a coin flip chance there. So I
yeah,
agree
but
with what they did in the end, but some people might not, and that's okay too.
you were
yeah,
thinking about that other Bo Levi Mitchell moment in the Grey Cup.
Yeah, the
mhm.
2017 Grey Cup down by 3, tried to pass to the end zone, picked off, lost the game. I was thrilled, but in the end,
Yeah,
worked
but I
out.
guess well, I mean, well, I mean, there are a lot more things I can get over in the game recap too. I mean, there are definitely 2 things I'd like to, highlight when we get there. But let's just roll through the statistics real quick. I mean, I did put you guys here will read out BC stats and uh
Yeah, offense
like
or defense?
really,
What are we doing
like
here?
really, like as I was putting them in, I said, "Man, stand back ruined 100+ yard game right there." Uh,
Yeah.
Really did.
Okay, who
uh,
goes offense, defense, or
I can read the offense with the same passion and excitement that the offense showed today or yesterday.
in the second half and overtime, man.
Yeah, Nathan Rourke. Yippee. 22 for 36, 264 yards. No touchdown, no picks. But he did have 2 rushing touchdowns on 30 rushing yards and 6 carries.
Oh
His
yeah,
longest throw
right.
was
I remember that.
37, so
Let's start that real
good for
quick.
him. Stanback for our running back, 103 yards and 15 carries, no touchdowns, 11 yards receiving. Katoy targeted 5 times, caught them all for 81 yards. Longest was 37. McInnes caught 3 catches for 38. Hatcher 2 catches for 38. Eberhart 2 catches for 41. You notice I'm not reading any touchdowns here because there weren't really. I don't think there was there a single receiving touchdown we had in the game? No, there was not. And
No, it was all running
Poissant
ones.
Poissant had a drop, which that was quite fishy of him. 2 catches for 18 yards.
I see what
And
you did there.
yeah, the only
and
offensive
then that
player
was the
called
offense.
Yeah,
Yippee.
only offensive player called
and
good was Katoy.
yeah, and Abraham was the second leading receiver on the team with just 2 catches for 41, right, too. So that was That's a very Aberhart stat there of just, he's the second leading receiver with just 2 catches, right?
It's our
Uh,
favorite meme receiver.
There we
yeah.
go.
On defense, three
See if
sacks
you can
from
match my passion for reading the stats.
Covington, Peters, and Rugamba. I only remember one of them. One interception from Kent Jr. That was a good moment. I can't remember what quarter that was in at this
That was
point.
in the
No.
first.
Oh yeah, because that's when all the momentum was happening.
Yeah.
No fumbles, no turnovers on downs. Secondary guys, Varga had 12 sacks. I actually quite noticed him. He had a
12
good
tackles,
game.
yeah.
Um, Ely had 6 tackles. The rest of the team had less than 4. Special teams, Sean White, perfect again, 5 for 5 on field goals, 2 for 2 on extra points, longest 50 yards.
He put in the
Flintoff,
one that tied the game late, so good for him.
yes.
Notice
Flintoff, I
what
don't
I
know,
put there.
3 punts and a scoreboard punt, averaging 66.7 yards, longest 70 yards. One thing I would think is he's got a pretty good average height on those kicks. Um,
Yeah,
They should
exactly.
start tracking height now, thanks to the scoreboard bunch that they seem to be doing all the time. Just, on our end,
three in,
no Ben Major to see it.
I
No,
know,
that would have been
yeah,
too bad. Or that would have been really something if he was there again.
I was mentioned by the referee that was doing the game yesterday. Terry Williams, 9 return catches on special teams, 5 punt returns, and 4 kickoff returns for a total of 164 yards, with an average of 26.3 for kickoffs, 10.8 for punt returns. But he set the tone to start the game with a run to like the 50 or 40 yard line, and then didn't do much else for the rest of the
Didn't
game.
do much
So,
else. Yeah, I mean, that was
So what else is
just,
new?
nope, that was our Terry Williams experience again.
uh, yeah, I mean, like every game, I must be doing the definition of insanity because every game I'm expecting things to change for him, and it's just there's always just one play that makes you think he's going to break one open for a touchdown eventually, and it just never happens, right? It's just extremely frustrating. I mean, and that's just the special teams, right? But yeah, it's and I guess yeah, and then I'll go for the Hamilton read here. So yeah, starting quarterback Bully by Mitchell. I mean, he haunted me and JS for years when he was on the Cowboys Stampeders, and even though he's past his prime, he's still got it here. Uh,
He looked rough in the first half, though. A lot of overthrows
a lot
in
of
the first
overthrows, and then the
half.
second half, he just got some of that Stampeder juice somehow, and just like saying, "Oh, wait a
Yep,
minute,
he
I'm playing
sure
the
did.
Lions."
I'd like to
Right?
point out, so he went 34 for 40. On his first 10 throws, he went 5 for 10. On his last 3 throws, he went 29 for 30.
And he even had 19 straight completions in that span, right? So I mean, yeah, he was first half he looked old, and then second half he just got like
Just
from the
got it
fountain of
back.
youth somehow. And yeah, so he went 34 for 40 for 315 yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception, and 7.9 average per throw. So yeah, just again,
Just a
like I
strong
said,
night from him overall. So
yeah.
yippee.
And yeah, and then the running back stats, I mean, the running backs weren't as strong as ours, but they didn't need it. They didn't need a running back to win. Bell went at 7 carries for 40 yards, ran for 5.7 on average and 1 touchdown. And he also had 5 catches on 5 targets for 24 yards and a 4.8 average on that on passing stats. So I mean, yeah, it was uh just not as eye-popping as our stand back stats were. When again, it's just I mean, when you're down by a bunch of points and the passing game starts to take precedence over running, really. Even though commentators will always say that a balanced offense is the best way to win the games, I mean, I don't blame anyone for going pass mode once they're down by a bunch, right? Uh, yeah, and then Leitra, who was the fullback, he looked like a fullback. He listed as a running back, but he's fullback in stature. He had 6 carries for 15 yards and a touchdown, and that was the game-winning touchdown in overtime. Um, yeah, and then for the receivers, Bridges had 4 catches and 5 targets for 27 yards. White, White was the one receiver who really angered me. Like he had Velcro on his hands. I mean,
Yeah.
he had chemistry with Paul Levi Mitchell like immediately in the second half, right? And there's just no way that the defense would be stopping him, right? He had 7 catches and 8 targets for 74 yards and 10.6 on average. So yeah, that's uh if you have 10.6 on average per catch, I mean that's pretty much an instant first down most of the time, right? That's really shows. Yeah, and then the rest of the receivers, Dunbar only had 2 catches for 24 yards. I had Smith as well. He also angered me a bunch too. 8 catches on 10 targets for 92 yards and a touchdown. That's 11.5 average. So yeah, just uh really two receivers that were just constantly burning the defense still. And yeah, man, Tonowski 2 catches for 33 yards with no touchdowns. O'Leary Orange had 2 catches for 25 yards and a touchdown. And yeah, it was just, Bo Levi was just, I mean, it was spreading the ball a decent amount, but White and Smith were the two ones that were constantly killing the secondary, right? And it was very frustrating. I mean, not only was it frustrating to you guys, I'm sure, like watching in the stadium, but at home, it was just,
For
I was
sure.
just hearing the commentary just praising them, and it annoyed me to no end. It was, I think
Sure gets tiring.
It was Farin Lagier and Glenn Suter doing the commentary, and I'll get to Glenn Suter when we get to the recap too, because there's a point of contention with him that I've noticed from social media too. But anyways, on the defense, no, Hamilton got 3 sacks. So David Menard, ex-Lion, of course.
Familiar
Hendricks
name.
and Sales. Yeah, never should have let Menard go, I thought. But what else can you do? Yeah, no interceptions, no fumbles, no turnovers on downs. I mean, like ECU's offense did okay. I mean, there wasn't any real major mistakes from, you know, both offenses really. I mean, there was only the one interception that Mitchell threw, but it was really just as pure of a football game as you can get with no minimal turnovers. um, yeah, and Ryan Baker, who was an SFU alumni as well, he got 7 tackles, and the rest of the team got less than 5. So I think he's SFU UBC. I forgot which university he comes from, but yeah, it was a local university. So yeah, it's nice to see that, even if it is on the other side. Special teams, Leggio only had the 1 field goal and was 1 for 1 in extra points. So I mean, it wasn't as prevalent as we'd like him to be, but and then Constantino had 7 punts, averaging 44.4 yards, none of them going into the scoreboard.
Mhm.
That would have been something if just both punters would have done that, right? That would have been just like a "where were you" moment.
He he was taking them high, and if there was a punter that I would predict to hit the scoreboard, it would have been him. But then Flintoff did it.
3 times. So Flintoff is the scoreboard punter now. uh,
Mm.
yeah,
I was really
and
worried that
then
the punt being kicked up there was gonna fall off the jumbotron and land and hit somebody. So I was like, oh, they actually should stop the game and get
yeah,
it down. I'm like, then I realized there'd be no way to get it down without bringing the jumbotron down. You can't do that in the middle of a game. So in the end, they played it out, and who knows if the football is still there. I'm going to the Whitecaps game there on Wednesday, so I'll see if I can get a view of under the jumbotron and if the ball's still there.
well,
Oh,
I'm
we'll have
sure
to
they
see.
probably took it out by then, but yeah, it was stuck in the speakers, wasn't it? I couldn't see because in the short that we uploaded yesterday, I didn't really see the ball too much, but I think it got stuck in the speakers or something.
Yeah. You could definitely
Uh,
see it in yeah, it was pretty invisible from my view as well, like in the stands.
Yeah,
yeah, too bad you couldn't get it as it was happening, but I mean, yeah, that would have been some crazy foresight to know what happened.
Filming every punt from
And
now on.
yeah. Anyways, and then Woods the third, the kick, yeah, yeah, who returned the kicks. He had 6 returns on special teams, 4 on punt returns, and 2 for kickoffs. Total of 115 yards with 28.5 on average for kickoffs and 14.5 for punt returns. So a little better than yeah. Special teams was canceled out pretty much for the most part for this game. It was just the kind of game where it was a weird game where just one team was winning pretty badly and then the other team decided to you know just say no, we're gonna make it no, we're gonna win this. But yeah, and this also proved itself with the penalties. I mean, the penalties, especially in the fourth quarter and overtime. I mean, penalties. Hamilton had 6 for 50 yards, and then BC had 8 for 87. Um, Again, one of them being, I mean, yeah, I'll get to it later, but there's one of them that's only one person thinks that that should not have been a PI, and I think the rest of the football world said that's a PI, and I said it
Yep,
too.
Sucked.
Yeah.
it really did. I
Um,
knew it at the time, and I'm like, that's gonna be PI, and we're gonna lose the game.
yeah. And then yeah, time of possession. I mean, this is well, the overtime doesn't count, so but the whole game it went Hamilton 30 minutes and 53 seconds and BC 29 minutes and 7 seconds. So yeah, pretty even on the possession, but I felt that Hamilton did more. I mean, obviously Hamilton did a lot more with their turns than we did. I mean, it felt like BC's offense was getting into the two and out malaise once again in that second half. That's what helped to doom them. Uh, uh yeah, yeah, but yeah, we'll just get into the recap. I mean, it's a lot of notes I've taken, but I think I'll just because we're
Sweet.
recording this late at night, I'll abridge this as much as possible for you, so you guys can get some good sleep.
Also, the less talking about this tragedy, the better.
Yep, it just
Yep.
I cry. I was so mad on the way home. I had to walk home for 30 minutes because the game went late, the bus only runs around an hour and it was almost so I was walking down Rupert Street 11:30 and I was very mad, steam blowing out of my ears.
Team. Yep.
Yeah. I would just want to say, screw you to the 7:30 p.m. kickoff.
Oh,
My
that was
records
horrible.
say the game ended last night at 10:45 and I didn't get home until 11:45, and that was terrible.
Yeah, like a few years ago after when there was a Canucks game that started at 7:30, Jeff Patterson, love him, he's amazing. He tweeted, "Why do 7:30 starts feel like 3 a.m. starts?" And that's how
Yeah.
I felt. It felt like it started at 3
Well,
in
if
the
you're an
morning.
East viewer, yeah, it would feel like that. uh,
Absolutely.
God damn it, San Jose Sharks.
yeah, and I imagine it probably would have taken me until midnight or 12:30 at night for me to get home all the way from the stadium myself too. So, uh, yeah, I'm glad I stayed. I'm staying home for this, but yeah, it was not as fun to watch this collapse happen on the broadcast as it is just like in real life. uh, yeah, so I mean, I guess for the game recap, I mean, I'll say that well, for one thing, I'll start out by saying that I do really love how the CFL decided to go with indigenous themed logos for the whole league. I love the BC one, right? And I believe uh
We'll
yeah, it
have free
was
shirts.
yeah, sweet shirts and
That was
yeah,
great, you know.
the
Mine's in the
truth and
wash right now, so I
reconciliation.
can't show it. I'll show it next week after I wash it. It's a really great t-shirt.
Yes.
Yeah. That's that's for Truth and Reconciliation Day for us up here in Canada, for just recognition of Indigenous people's heritage and also the tragedies that have befallen them over the centuries. But it's nice to see that the CFL teams are working with Indigenous people to rectify it in their power as best they can with charities and
Yes.
stuff, right? So, including initiatives like this, which is nice. Um, and then, but yeah, that out of the way. I mean, after that, I also put massive game for both teams because I, I mean, I don't think I said this earlier, but it has now been since July 13th. BC has not won a home game in
Wow.
BC Place, right? Like
That was
the
2.5
Victoria.
months ago.
That was 2.5 months ago. We are starving for a win BC plays here,
They
right?
have two
Like
more
it's
chances to get it this year. Those will probably be their only two chances this year. So hopefully they can get it done.
yeah. And I tweeted after the game, I said, I'm still petitioning the CFL to have BC play all the home games in Victoria from now on.
That'd be fine by me.
Uh,
I'd be happy to go to more games there.
yeah. Well, I mean, it would put would lock in my 1-0 attendance record for Lions games, but uh anyways, yeah, so opening kickoff, I mean Williams had a great return to the Hamilton 49.
You got me on my feet early, literally.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I mean work pass to McKinnis and then converted on short yardage, getting a field goal range, and then I mean Katoy had a really strong run after a catch to convert to the 17-yard line. I mean he did get a little banged up in this game, but he's ended up being fine. And then yeah, then on second and inches, Rourke finds the gap on the line of scrimmage and runs to the end zone to like take the lead 7-0. I mean,
Couldn't have
yeah,
started
that
any
was
better.
couldn't have started any better. Yeah, the XP was good, and then then Hamilton goes 2 and out. You know, already a great start. I mean, usually Lions first quarters aren't like this, but you know, sometimes it's nice to have a really good. Well, I mean, not only was it a good first quarter because, well, yeah, uh, I would have loved to have seen it be 14-0 because you know after Hamilton punched after the 2 and out. You know, BC offense was going on tempo. I mean, Couture had a few catches, and then he got hurt again because he was banged up after the first drive, and then he got really hurt because there was a helmet that hit him in the hip. Right? That said, the receiving core took a beating because you know, uh,
Once.
I think it was Collins wasn't in the game here either, right? So you know, we're missing two. You know, I'm hoping we're not missing like two key receivers again. Uh, yeah, I mean, Poisson is no replacement for Hollins, but yeah, he did catch a few, but he did drop a Fred pass from work that would have converted.
That
But
was just sad.
yeah, would have been.
Would have been
I think it would have
14
been a good
nothing.
chance. It would have been 14-0, but instead it's Sean White time to eye on the danger, kick a field goal to extend the lead to 10-0, and then yeah, and then on Hamilton's ensuing drive, yeah, it was another 2 and out. I mean, Bo Levi Mitchell was overthrowing receivers on that on both 2 and outs, and Ben Williams returns it to the 27, but an illegal block penalty forces the offense to snap at the 14. Stanback converts on a run for 13, but and I did show it to you guys in the Discord chat. The broadcast did show you two on the TV, right? I'll put the picture up on the recording just to show it to you.
I got
But
that. I got it from my aunt actually. Said, "Oh, look, you're on TV." I'm like, "Oh, isn't that cool?"
I
yeah,
couldn't tell
I'm
us.
wondering if someone at TSN is watching us somehow, right? That would be incredible.
Yeah, he
It's
said,
like how I happen to
promote
be.
us on halftime.
Yes,
Free,
it's
free
like how I
advertising.
happen
We
to be
love it.
on TV during Touchdown Pacific.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I mean, well, in this case, you were just like front and center there, right? Like the TV just like went right to you guys to, and this was as the broadcast was talking about the Indigenous Truth and Reconciliation Day stuff, right? So uh,
Oh, it's nice.
It really was.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I saw JS and Hammer on TV in all caps, but then but then the Lions do punt. Like as soon as the elation of me seeing you guys on TV wore off, it just wore off quickly because the Lions did punt the ball. Um, yeah, Hamilton doesn't really do much on offense here either.
That was most of the
Uh,
rest of the first half was just punt after punt after punt.
yeah, well, yeah, in the first
Boring.
quarter, I mean, BC's offense did end the first quarter with a 2 and out punt too. So yeah, uh, yeah, and then in the second quarter, I mean, there was event. Yeah, there was an interception. Yeah, I said it was the first quarter. It was actually the second quarter that Kent Jr. Intercepted Mitchell for his first career INT, right? Which I was surprised by, right? Considering how long the season's been now. I mean, to have a first career interception like this late in the season is pretty rare. But I mean, BC's offense. I mean, they do just enough, but it was still a field goal. I mean, they extended the lead to 13-0. Um, Ben Hamilton took the ball at the 40th. They converted on third and short for like a first set of downs after 3-minute warning happens. I mean, and then well, I mean, just when we thought Hamilton was going to break the goose egg, Gary Peters rushed on a blitz to sack Boley by Mitchell. And I think it was at this point where the tweet was, not the tweet, no. Ha Hammer, you told me, you told us Bo Levi sucks, right?
That was
Hammer,
my biggest regret. I
I
wanted an excuse to say that so badly because he did suck to start the game, and then after that he was immaculate. So
I remember texting my dad, "What happened to Bo Levi?" Boy,
Yep.
do I regret that now.
And I said, yeah, he must have gotten the foul in a youth in halftime, right? But yeah, I'll put that message up there too, just for the world to see that you jinxed us all, Emma. Shame on you.
no, me
uh,
and Jacob did our fair share of shitting on Bo Levi when he wasn't doing very good in the first half,
We
but
most certainly did.
proved
But
us
we
wrong.
shouldn't have because it came back to bite us in the butt.
It did.
yeah, for what it's worth, I was staying pretty quiet throughout most of the game. I mean, I was only really shouting for touchdowns and interception, but everything else, I was just sternly just looking, just staring like this, right? Uh, um, yeah, anyways, yeah, BC does kick a field goal. Like Sean White, I mean, bless his heart, yeah, he, there's no criticizing him. I mean, he did pretty good to keep the lead extended to 16-0 to end. I put really good first half for the Lions because they're really good. I mean, without knowing that those were my famous last words, but it's not as bad as saying the quarterback sucked, right? Uh, oh yeah, and also Stanback did get over 1,000 yards rushing in the second quarter as well, which congratulations to him.
So
I hope he beats out Brady Olivera. That's the only kind of happiness I'll get out of this
Stanback has
season.
had a very up and down season throughout the games, but generally he has been consistent and has been a very good replacement for Mizell.
Yeah, and also James Butler as well, which
Oh yeah, who played against us? Or
well,
did
no,
he?
James Butler was benched.
Oh,
It was game, yeah, yeah, it was Bell, but I could tell that. I mean, the camera did pan to Butler at some point, right? I mean, the broadcast was saying that that he wants to get in there and like stick it to his old team, right? But not today, uh, thankfully. But I mean, thankfully, only mildly. I mean, the Hamilton offense got the revenge for him, but like not only for the revenge game for him, but also for the last game when we destroyed them in Tim Hortons Field, right? Uh, yeah. So second half, this is where the comeback starts. I mean, Hamilton just immediately right out of the gate, they look great, right? The defense was just looking like sieves, and they were doing nothing to stop them, and they were playing zone defense again, which I hated when you have a lead. It's better when you're down or when you're tied. I don't have too much of a gripe with zone defense, but when you have a big lead and then you start to play prevent defense, it's just preventing you from winning. And this is what happened to to start. Betts, man, I was not impressed with Matthew Betts either in this game. I mean, he took a really unnecessary roughness penalty. uh,
yeah, we were up, our hands were in the sky. We were like, what the hell? Why would you do that?
Those penalties are the ones they have no tolerance for. Just completely unnecessary, cost us money. I just hate it.
Yeah, I mean, and he could have gotten called for another penalty, but that was missed. But it didn't matter. I mean, Smith converted from Mitchell on 2nd and 16. Actually, no, it was second down for 16 yards, and then Bell runs it in for 18 yards, and the ball just barely crosses over the goal line, and it was a too easy touchdown drive. And then they tried for the 2-point convert, keep the lead, well, to make the lead get cut in half. And then
And they did
they
it.
do a Philly-esque play. I mean, it was Bowley by
It was
Mitchell was recorded as a receiver in the stats. So I didn't want to put that in there, but I saw that and I was debating whether to put it in or not. But yeah, it was credited as a receiver for a 2-point convert.
that was an unbelievably smooth play, and I first of all thought of you, Ascent, because you're a Philadelphia
Eagles
Eagles fan.
fan,
I was
yeah,
like, he did the Philly, but that's when I thought
yeah.
things started to turn around. I'm like, God, their offense is clicking, and then keep going.
And you just kind of
Yeah,
knew from there.
yeah, yeah, they were looking terrifying to start out of the gate, and then all three of us, I mean, I think me especially just watching it at home, I had this just increasing feeling of dread just rise up in my chest. I just like,
Trust me,
oh
we felt it
no,
too.
We
We felt
sure
yeah,
it too.
did.
yeah. I mean, and it doesn't help that DC's offense went on the next drive. I mean, Wood gets sacked just immediately on second down for a 2-and-out. And I put as the comeback for Hamilton might be on immediately. Well, it was. I mean, Hamilton does on the next drive. Hamilton does threaten, but they do threaten, and then they tried to get BC to go offside, but BC wasn't falling for it, and took a delay get time count violation to force them to punt. And then on this BC drive, Barry Hill was converting, and then Aberhart had a clutch conversion catch for him. The one of the two catches he had a clutch catch for 23 yards,
Yep.
and he was going for yak, and then to end the drive, well, yeah, Stanback is having himself a game, and then Ward catches the touchdown on a 10-play drive to extend the lead to 23-8, right? So I mean, as bad as 16-0 halftime lead was, and it's 23-8 now, right? I mean, like, okay, we can breathe a sigh of relief for now, right? Um, but
Or
yeah,
so we
then
thought.
or so we thought, and I mean, in the winning moments in the third quarter, I mean, Hamilton, like Mitchell was throwing to Smith a bunch of times, and then Varga was called for a low hit penalty on Bridges onto the BC 50, and that penalty angered me too. Like just those low tackles, it just I mean, yeah, the defense was just playing way too undisciplined, and like not in the moments where you don't want to play them to play undisciplined, right? And yeah, I mean, Hamilton's offense was still on the field right through to the fourth quarter. Then uh Bell in the fourth quarter, Bell converted on a sweep pass, and then Rugamba sacks Mitchell on first down for an 8-yard loss on a blitz. Um, then Bridges catches and falls for 5 yards to keep it in field goal range intact. And then, yeah, Hamilton does kick a field goal to really shorten the lead to 23-11.
Which I still
You know,
felt good about our chances. I didn't think for sure we were gonna, but I still felt, decent about it at that point.
yeah, I mean,
12 points.
yeah, I was thinking that if BC scores another field goal, I mean, it's still, I'd say the percentage of to win was still pretty high at this point, right? And if they kick a field goal would have made it even better. But yeah, yeah, on BC's ensuing drive, yes, it's a 2-and-out. Won't get sacked again, but this is where Flint punts into the ball into the scoreboard to redo the punt. It was, um,
The best moment of the game.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it really was.
yeah. This moment, and of course, me seeing you guys on TV was really the highlight of the game was, and you know,
You know,
some
my
happy
favorite
moments in
part
this.
is the audio crew was clearly prepared for that. They played the Curb Your
I
Enthusiasm
heard
theme.
that. Yeah.
And throughout the rest of the quarter, they had like some different scenes up there. So they panned the camera and on the jumbotron they were like send help, and there was the ball stuck up there. It was so funny to me how the ball just
Yeah,
didn't come down.
Yeah, and
clearly something they
unfortunately,
had anticipated.
yeah, and unfortunately, I mean, send help can be also be, I guess, interpreted as someone help this team for right
That's kind of
something.
how I feel
Sake,
about
yeah.
it.
Uh, yeah. So funny moment for the punt again for the third. Feels like the third straight home game now, where it's like punting into the scoreboard. Right, it feels like it, but uh, yeah, just Hamilton's offense gets the ball back, and then it was at this point. I mean, the broadcasting did mention that Mitchell was 17 for 17 at this point, right? I mean, he was just firing on all cylinders at this point in the game, right? He was just lights out, and it ended up being 19 for 19, right? That was a streak, but yeah, yeah, but it was on this drive that Smith was. I mean, there was a point where the Hamilton offense was like at second and long, but just it was just zone defense, man. It was just they were letting Hamilton just make the offense look easy, right? When it shouldn't be that easy to get yards on the defense on second and long situations. But yeah, I mean, and then unfortunately, this it does go to a third down, third and six, and then Mitchell to Smith again converts on third and six for a clutch touchdown to make the lead shorten to 23 to 18, and the point was good. And that was the moment where I'm like, oh
It's
God, if
real.
they don't, I was confident. I was saying in the group chat at this point, like I'm saying, if BC's offense doesn't score here, they're gonna lose. Right? Just I
And there was a very bad response to that. Our response to that was a two and out.
yeah, two and out. And I just threw my hands up in the air and I'm going, yeah, we're gonna blow this, aren't we?
A lot
And
of
You just
hands and
knew it.
head moments.
Yep.
indeed, on Hamilton's ensuing drive, I mean, it was multiple long passes for, well, like relatively average length passes for Mitchell, but I mean, there was that, and then there was a penalty. Well, Hamilton got called for holding, but it didn't matter because it was right at the 3 minute warning happened, and then I said I predicted that Hamilton was going to score the leading touchdown. I kept doing that, right? I kept dooming myself, but yeah, I was yeah, I was present as yeah, and then O'Leary Orange converts on a deep throw for 20 on second down, and then he catches and then he catches the game leading touchdown, the predictable one, take the lead late at 26 to 23. I mean, did do a 2 point convert to make it that way.
At that point,
And
I just gave up. I said to Hammer, "What do you bet that Rourke throws an interception on this drive? He hadn't thrown one the whole game. I'm calling it. He's going to throw it on this drive. That didn't happen.
not
Yeah,
exactly,
he's due
but
for one.
But he might as well because then they would have lost anyway, and it would have saved us 20 minutes of travel time.
yeah, I mean, yeah, 20 minutes of travel time and sleep as well, right?
Yep.
Honestly, I
Yeah.
think it was like in the third quarter, it was like 10 o'clock already. And I was so tired. Like I'd been up early, but like I just wanted to go home. And it was such a slow burn because I felt like a loss was coming. I'm just like, oh, just get this over with at this point.
No, no, the teams are just like, no, we want to make it as tense as possible because it's a playoff implication game. Like,
These assholes.
uh, but yeah, BC. I mean, for their credit, I mean, they do go down the field, right? I mean, there was many second down conversion. I mean, Katoy was pretty good on this drive, and also Hatcher.
Pretty good
Um,
clock management
and
there,
then
going down the
here,
line.
yeah, and then here at this point, I mean, they were at third and one on the 4 yard line, like in Hamilton's 4 yard line. And I mean, I was wanting them to go for it because I did not want to see overtime. Like I wanted the game to be over with. If but I mean, yeah, Rick Campbell just decides to play it safe. I mean, there's a lot of I mean, there's usually criticism for if you go for it on third down. I mean, and then you don't get the convert, then people will be yelling at you. But it's kind of an unenviable position. I would have gone for it because, but I mean, I can understand why he decided to,
Yeah.
take the easy points. right?
The way I saw it was, the momentum was against you. I didn't see much of a hope that they would get the touchdown. Like, you know what? Get it to go to overtime, and you at least have a chance. And, in overtime, if you make one mistake, you still have another play to get it. Whereas here, there's only, 13 seconds. The clock was ticking. You could have easily, ran out of time. Even if you, get the first one, you might have ran out of time. I thought, you know what? Just run it down to 0, get us to overtime, and then maybe you lose
See
there.
what
But
happens.
yeah, exactly. See what happens.
See what happens. And yeah, then just for the first time in podcast history, we go to overtime for a game. And I kind of bunched it in with the fourth quarter. I didn't want to make a separate kind of block of notes. I bunched it in with the fourth quarter notes. And so, yeah, I mean, in overtime, Hamilton wins the coin toss and then defers to BC's offense.
Which was
Aberhart
good.
can,
That's what they
yeah,
should do. If you win the coin toss in overtime, you always want to go on defense first.
yeah, to have the chance to win, like
So
just to force the other
then you know
team.
what you need when you get the ball, you know what you need.
Yeah, I call that well, I mean, you don't want to be like Hauschka in Seattle and say we're going to take the ball and we're going to score. uh,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, yeah, suck it, Seattle.
That was funny.
um, yeah. Anyways, yeah. So BC's offense. I mean, Aberhart converts on 2nd and 10 for 18, but then work misses throws to Hatcher and Aberhart to force White to score the 29-26 field goal on the first mini game because in overtime we don't have it like the NFL where there's a time limit for 10 minutes, right? And the first touchdown, well, yeah, I think the first touchdown wins. And in this one, there's mini games where I mean you can kick either a field goal or a touchdown, but if you score a touchdown, you have to you're forced to do the 2-point convert, right? Unless the first team, I mean, the attacking team, if they score a field goal, then a touchdown will win it. And this is unfortunately what happened for us. I mean, we didn't get to see a second set of mini games because Hamilton just just did what they did all second half. I mean, it just wouldn't stop. Um,
Well, Levi could not miss a pass.
did not miss a pass. I mean, Smith was doing some more conversions, and then we fought that on 2nd and goal. I mean, we fought that Kent, did enough to prevent the catch from happening, right? But, and this is where Glenn Suter is ranting about it a bunch, and nobody agrees with him, and me included. Uh, yeah, it was just Kent was tugging the I mean, I forgot the player he was interfering with, but he was tugging his jersey, by the collar, right? He was tugging it down as the ball was in the air, and I'm like, yeah, that's clear PI, and that's gonna be down at the 1. And yeah, Glenn Suter was just like ranting about it even after Hamilton won the game. Like he was still saying like that. There's no. I mean, I get it. That's textbook, but come on, that shouldn't be PI. That's what he was like, right? And yeah, it was just getting a lot of ire from CFL fans watching the game. It's like, Glenn, stop it. That was clear PI. I know you're a former defensive back. I know you're sticking up for defenders, but man, like, come on, man. Like, it sounds like you have money on BC or something, right? Uh, so yeah, yeah, Litra just punches in the 1 yard touchdown to just seal the depressing collapse, complete the depressing
I just knew that it
collapse.
was done as soon as that PI was called. I knew it was over.
Yeah, it was the OT game-winning TD to keep the Eastern crossover hopes further alive. Then Hamilton goes to 6-10, and then we drop a crucial game in the playoff positioning as the Lions drop to 7-8, and now that
Right.
Saskatchewan's won their game today, they beat Ottawa pretty handily. Uh, Now BC is outright third place in the West, right, and it's not looking good for them. Right, I mean, we cannot afford to lose any more games. I mean, I don't think, especially losing to Calgary, right, which was next week. But I mean, even if
See
they
what
do beat,
happens.
yeah, I mean, this is just Like like this team befuddled me. Like they beat Ottawa and Victoria pretty handily. They have a really good road win against Montreal. Then they come home and then they have a dud against Toronto, and then they collapse against Hamilton, and that's two of the weaker Eastern Conference teams. Like, I mean, it just goes to show you like the state of just how inconsistent the team is and how frustrating it is to watch them just week in and week out have like great games against good teams and then teams that they should beat on paper they just can't. Um yeah,
I know.
I gotta
I'm
say
lost for
that's
words.
yeah, all of us are at a loss for words. I mean, even though it's more than a day out since we saw this happen,
I mean,
we're still shaking our heads and we're going like,
I don't have that much to say. There's,
yeah, what faith,
I, I,
like all that faith that I've had in the team. I mean, like
those Grey
coming
Cup
out the
hopes are just
Montreal
blown
win is
away,
just gone. Like it's just like
gone down the
I don't,
toilet.
I don't think. I mean, we might be able to beat. I mean, if they do get in the playoff, they might be able to beat Saskatchewan. But I mean,
This
I mean,
team,
it's looking like a road game at this point, right? A road playoff game.
we've
Uh,
said all year about how well this team can play. And I think
yeah,
this team can play at another level than they have played. But they're 7-8, that's reality. So it really sucks to see the season go down the drain like this almost.
But luckily,
almost.
there's still time to turn around. Probably enough. There's not enough time to host the West Final. There might be enough time to host the semi, but there is enough time to turn it around and be playing well going to the playoffs. The Lions did win the Grey Cup as a third seed once before, so it could theoretically
2000.
happen. But
Yeah,
oh man,
I know.
no.
Like I said, I was barely alive for that time when they were massive underdogs and they went on to win the Grey Cup. But yeah, at this point, it feels like, I mean, just with how inconsistent this team is playing, it's just, yeah. We're not, we're not feeling good right now. I mean, it could change. I mean, if they
Nope.
could rattle off three-story win, that'll be great. Like, I mean, it is possible. I mean, you got and for one thing, I guess this will segue into the preview for next week's games. I mean, yeah, we have uh
Let's see.
yeah, let's see the schedule. Oh yeah, also the other games were the Riders beat the Red Blacks earlier today, and then the Argos beat the Owls. So yeah, the uh with that, and then then the game before our game that we lost was the Blue Bombers just destroying the living hell out of the Elks 55-27.
Right before our game, and we
Oh,
were checking the score every minute and it seemed like they were up by at least 20 every time. Nope, now it's
oh,
35 to 10 and kept going. That was crazy. Elk scored 27 and they still got blown out of the water.
yeah, and they still had a better game than us in the shutout game, right? Like it just
Oh, yeah.
that was not even garbage point, not even garbage points for us in our game. Like we will have the benchmark for the worst game CFL game played this season. Right. uh but yeah,
Next week,
next week will be the Bombers will have the rematch against actually no. Yeah, the Bombers will be playing these Ticats. So I mean if the Ticats actually well if the Ticats do lose to the Bombers, I'm gonna be so angry. If there was nothing that angers me more than seeing a team have like an emotional like have a really great win against, my favorite teams and then they go on to lose badly or just, lose in general the next game. And then I'm going, where was this team?
Literally.
Yeah, so that'll be it's the first game of the doubleheader. I mean, the other game will be ours, but on Saturday it's just the one game. It's Rough Riders versus Elks, and that'll be a huge game for the Elks for sure, just to keep their playoff hope alive. Uh, assuming I mean, assuming the Stampeders lose, but I mean, this point, I mean, I really don't know what to expect for the Lions next week, right? I mean, there's still hope. It's still going to be a home game. I really want. I mean, it's one of it's. We've got two chances to end this month long BC Place losing streak. It's this game and then the final game of the season against Montreal.
I
So
almost don't
I'm
want to go to
hoping.
the game on Friday. I
I've
still will go to
I've
the game,
I
but
don't have any
Jacob, you made a
tickets.
point.
I don't have any tickets, and I don't know if I'm gonna get them because that kind of shook me what happened today. Or not today,
Yeah,
yesterday. Feels like today because I'm still mad about it.
yeah, but I mean, the Stampeders are probably like a little bit of a step below the Ticats. But I mean, it, I do expect BC to win. But I mean, at this point, like if they lose this game too, it wouldn't surprise me in the least either. I'm just
You expect to win a game against a team that has a worse record than you, and we've lost games to those teams many times this year, including
uh
against the Ticats. So,
5-1. That 5-1 start just feels like ancient
fever
times
dream.
now. It just
Wow, that happened.
yeah. I mean. Yeah, so at this point, I mean, again, I'm hoping BC at least, if they're gonna break this bad home losing streak and BC plays, it has to be against the Stampeders, right? I'd
Yeah.
say that's probably their best chance. I mean, assuming Montreal doesn't, assuming Montreal, if West are starters, right? I mean, that could be a winnable game too. But yeah, this game, I'd say, I mean, I'm sure BC knows that the I mean, they still have a pretty high chance of making the playoffs, but I mean,
No
crazy
guarantee.
things have happened. No guarantees. I'm like, I'm really worried, right? I'm well, pretty worried.
We're all
So
worried. Is it time to press the panic button? Almost,
that's
I'd say.
I think we have been
almost if
panicking for a little while, but
we've been panicking. We've panicked and doing the 5 game losing streak, and we're back to being close to panicking again, right? If the Stampeders like straight up destroy us like Winnipeg did to Edmonton, that's when I'm maybe like season's over, man. It's just right, but uh, that's just the pessimism coming back from me. Just I'm very much used to my favorite sports teams disappointing me, as I'm sure you guys have done the same with other sports too, right?
well,
Um, yeah, I mean it's also a reason why I'm wearing the Orioles shirt because because this might be the last time I'm going to be able to wear this because the wild card game's going to be happening soon. But yeah, it might be the last time you're going to, well, yeah, first and last time you'll be seeing me wearing this. So
let's hope they're
um,
still alive by next Saturday.
yeah, I'm
Fingers
hoping
crossed.
they can actually win a playoff game for once. But anyways, yeah, that's yeah, that'll be it for us today. So yeah, we'll just bit of a longer recording than I'd
Sad
like
episode.
to, but yeah, but yeah,
Sad
it's group
episode.
therapy, right? It's
Yeah. Do I feel much better? No, not really, but that's
no,
okay.
but no, but talking it out, like just venting our frustrations and just saying like, okay, like we know what needs to happen next week, right? We're just like, what more can we do? Like, we have no power over this team. It's up to them to get off their butts and start playing 60-minute football, right? It's like 60-minute hockey, right? This
It
was
really is.
30-minute football, right? And 30-minute football for them. Yeah. Um. So yeah,
That'll be it.
that'll be it for us for today. Yeah, we'll do our social real quick. So I'll say it.
I'm
So
too sad to say
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So,
I've got the strength to say it. So so yeah, we're at you can email us at Gmail at section 214. So that's SECTIONFOURTEN at gmail.com. And then you can also contact us on Twitter and Instagram by at the section 214 pod. That's SECTON 214, the numbers and pod, the POD, the letters. And yeah, that's yeah. So we'll see you. Well, I mean, it's going to be another late game next Friday, so we'll probably see you hopefully by next Saturday evening or Sunday morning. Uh,
Yep.
yep.
Sounds good.
So
See you guys next time.
yeah.
Bye.
Bye bye.